Hey everybody! Today I have another tutorial on shadows for you. I had so much fun with the last one that I wanted to show you something a little bit different. I'm starting with just some simple tools, I don't know what you call this thing. This is some kind of math thing, but it's like a triangle ruler. That's what I call it. And I love it because it has kind of a beveled edge. Makes it easy to use. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the corner of a room. And to do this, I draw a vertical for the corner. And then I choose a vanishing point somewhere off of my cardstock. So I just pick a point on the bottom ruler of my Stampin' Up! Grid paper as my vanishing point. And when you're doing a corner or the outside of a building, you need two vanishing points instead of one. So that's how I create my corner. Then I'm just going to take some Frisket masking tape. I have every kind of masking tape, like ever. This stuff is great. It has a very gentle hold, and it does not damage my cardstock. Whisper White can be a little bit delicate because it is coated, so you do need to be careful about what kind of tape you use on it. Some tape is too sticky. Now I'm taking my Pear Pizzazz ink pad and a Ranger ink blending tool, and I'm just going to make some green walls in this little imaginary room. And I'm not really paying attention to, making it completely smooth. It doesn't matter. I'm going to be turning this into wallpaper, and so I don't want the color to be completely flawless. So I am tapping off a little bit on my mat before I sponge, but other than that, I don't mind if there's a little variation in light and dark. The only variation that I really want to make sure that I make is that I want the corner of the room and the area just above the floor to be set off just a little bit. To achieve that, I'm going to use Old Olive on top of the Pear Pizzazz. This is a slightly warmer green. And that's just going to tell your eye that there's a slight difference, not really a super perceptible difference, but enough that you know that that is a sharp edge and different from the rest of the wall. So now I'm just going to remove the tape. Is there anything seriously more fun than removing masking tape after you have sponged or watercolored? Because if there is, I need to know about it right now. I love that. It's like magic. It's like heat embossing. There are so many things that we do that are so much like magic tricks that I think that's why we're all still interested in paper crafting. It's too much fun. So I'm going to repeat the process on the wall on the left, just very quickly and without a lot of thought, which that could really be my tagline, quickly and without a lot of thought. That's how I like to stamp. So I'm going to speed up the rest of the video because some of this is a little bit repetitive. Now I've made the left wall a little bit darker. I think that adds some interest. You certainly don't have to do it, but I like to do it. And if you want to, you can erase the line. I found that I couldn't really see mine, but the small amount of OCD that I do have requires me to remove it, even if I can't see it. I don't really like pencils anyway, so a little pencil mark would bug me. And now I'm going to go ahead and isolate the left-hand wall because what I want to do is give it a wallpaper look. And I'm going to do this with the I Love Lace stamp set and my Misty. So I'm just going to put the background stamp down and just find where it can kind of cover up that entire section. And then I'll put my magnet down on my Misty and ink up the background stamp. Now I don't want it to be very dark though, so I'm going to take a piece of the grid paper that comes with the Misty, and I'm just going to get a little bit of that ink off. I want it to be sort of subtle because I'm actually going to be stamping on top of it. Oh, look at that. Again, more magic. Totally looks like wallpaper. Now I'm reusing the same tape to do the right hand side. And what's fun when you do something like this is that you'll want to move to a different part of the stamp because that really does make it look like two different pieces of wallpaper, which it would be in real life. And goodness knows we like a little realism in our stamping. And I'm going to move the card, of course, up to the top just so I have a little more room to maneuver. And I'm going to mask off the floor just so that I don't accidentally stamp some wallpaper onto the floor and then have to do something completely crazy to make that make sense. But I'll ink it up and then remove some ink again and then stamp it onto that right-hand wall. And look at this. Oh my gosh, this is so cool. It really looks like the corner of some little granny's living room with some flowery wallpaper. When I was little, we had this red, white, and blue wallpaper with the eagles all over it, so I know a lot about wallpaper with patterns on it. Now I want to figure out where I want the little balloon because this is going to be a birthday card. So I just need to position it somewhere where it makes sense for me to build a little shadow, which is the whole purpose of this project. So I'm going to go ahead and stick it down. And then I realized that I put it on there upside down. The MISTI can help you do a lot of things. It can't help you not be a ding-dong and put your stamps down the wrong way. So I have my second chance to get that right. And I'm going to go ahead and ink this up. Now I'm using Night of Navy. I thought just a dark navy blue would be somewhat harmonious with the background color that I chose. So I'm going to stamp this little balloon. And right now it looks sort of, I don't know, incomplete. So I'm going to make it look like an actual transparent balloon with the help of my blender pen. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see that all I have to do, I don't even really have to add ink at first. I can just pull the ink from the stamped lines, because it is a water-based ink, down into the body of the balloon and give it more of a three-dimensional look. And then I can add a little bit of ink just by squeezing the ink pad at the edges of the balloon to just define it and give it the optical illusion of being three-dimensional. So I go around the edges just a little bit. Now what's cool about doing all the background stamping first is you can still see the pattern of the wallpaper through the balloon, which that would be the case in real life. And so it gives it a little bit of realism that I really like. So now I have to figure out where I want the shadow. Now it has to go down the wall and then also out into the floor. So you'll see me figuring out where to put the stamp and then which angle to make each of the shadows, because really they're two separate shadows. One of the string going down the wall, and then where it hits the floor, angling off, just like it would really happen in real life. Now to make the shadow, I'm not going to use the business end of the stamp, so to speak. I'm going to be stamping this with the side that is normally adhering to your clear block. So it's just a solid outline that's slightly larger than the image of the stamp itself, and for that reason it makes great shadows. Donna Griffith taught us this at convention last summer, and I just thought she was a genius. Well, she is a genius. It's not that I just thought she was a genius. But it's wonderful for making shadows that are realistic, but also really look like shadows. So they mimic the shape like a shadow should, but they're fuzzier and they're a little bit larger. And it's fun to do it that way. So now you can see the angle that I've chosen for the shadow to go off. And I'm using Smoky Slate for the shadow. And I'm just going to mask off the top part, you know, just so I can get it to line up with the partial shadow that I've already done. So there it is. And if you have a little bit at the seam, which I do, that didn't get stamped, just fill it in with your blender pen, no biggie. And there you have a great little scene in a room of just a floating balloon by itself and a little cast shadow. I love that. Now I'm using Lovely Amazing You, the stamp set that I cannot stop using. And Good Wishes Your Way works for pretty much anything. And it's perfect for the space left by my balloon in the shadow. So in this case, it's going to be a birthday greeting. So I put it where I want it, and then I use the grid on the lid of the MISTI just to make sure that it's completely straight before I ink it up. And then I'm inking it up in VersaFine. Love this black. And I'm just going to stamp it down. Oh, now I don't even need to stamp it twice. It worked great. So there you can see the little transparent balloon and a great little birthday wish your way. I hope you've enjoyed this. Thanks so much for watching.